Welcome to Live on Main. I'm Robert Falcione, the editor of HopNews.com, and we have with us this evening Jeep Rosenberg, a resident of New York and Worcester, Massachusetts, with a long history, and you can see his website. It will be displaying at the end of this, and at any time Jeep is welcome to give out his website, because there's going to be a lot more there. We're here for half an hour, and I'd like to thank Jeep for being available, and I'll turn it over to him.
I'm going to do one of my own songs. As introduced, I am a songwriter, and this is something I did. Sometimes people ask me where do songs come from, and if you wait around for inspiration, you have a long wait. And some of it's just craft and tricks, and sometimes collaboration kickstarts things, kickstart things, I guess, or kickstarts, whatever. One way is to make up an assignment and give yourself an assignment, like you're your own publisher or your own editor or something like that. So at one point I'd undertaken a series of songs based on the founders of what we think of as country music, and that included the Carter family, Jimmy Rogers, and Hank Williams. Now, trying to write a Hank Williams song is just about the most impossible thing you can imagine. He was a true genius and did it so economically, it's kind of scary. We've had a couple people, Townes Van Zandt, I think, and Billy Joe Shaver, a couple others that have come close. But anyway, I tried to write a Hank Williams song, early 50s, retro, country, and I kind of hit the neighborhood. There was some Webb Pierce, Cal Smith, some of his contemporaries. Maybe I got close to the kind of thing that they did. This is called Darlin', I Miss You When You're With Me. Darling, I miss you when you're with me. Darling, you might as well be gone. Nobody's home when you kiss me. Darling, I miss you when you're with me. Your eyes are looking over my shoulder. Your mind is far away from you and me. And every night our bed's a little colder. And I'm praying for the way it used to be. Darling, I miss you when you're with me. Darling, you might as well be gone. Nobody's home when you kiss me. Darling, I miss you when you're with me. Is your heart out wandering with a stranger? Is my love no longer up to par? Darling, I would face down any danger if only you would tell me where you are. Darling, I'll miss you when you're with me. Darling, you might as well be gone. Nobody's home when you kiss me. Darling, I miss you when you're with me. Darling, I miss you when you're with me. Okay, just need the fiddle and the steel guitar. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Well, if this was a different situation, I have you call in requests, but I'll have to make my own requests of myself. I was thinking recently about how a few friends and relatives of the so-called greatest generation, the World War II generation, have kind of gone on, passed on this year in particular for me. And, I grew up with their music. My parents had very good taste in jazz and big band jazz and combination jazz. And it wasn't the Glenn Gray and the Casa Loma Orchestra kind of lame sort of thing. It was the Benny Goodman Sextet and Coleman Hawkins and all of that. So anyway, I had a friend, he was a retired general, and when he was a young man, he played a little guitar, and I visited him down in Virginia, Rice, Virginia, a couple of years ago, and he told me this was his favorite song. So I had never had it in my repertoire, and I thought it might be fun to work it up. So. When whippoorwills call and evening is nigh, I hurry to my blue heaven. Just turn to the right, there's a little white light that'll lead you to my blue heaven. You'll see a smiling face, a fireplace, a cozy room, a little nest that nestles where the roses bloom. Just Molly and me, and baby makes three. We're happy in my blue heaven. You'll see a smiling face, a fireplace, a cozy room, a little nest that nestles where the roses bloom. Just Molly and me, and baby makes three. We're happy in my blue heaven. Alrighty. Hope you're enjoying this. I certainly am. This is kind of a postscript. I had done a show at the Hopkins Art Center a couple months ago in their First Friday series. It's really I want to put in a plug for them. They've got an amazing collection of programs, both performance, fine arts, youth education, and so forth. So I take my hat off to the folks in this town that have put such an impressive center together. And they like my music, so they got to be great. So where do we go from here? We had an eclipse this summer of the sun. Maybe some of you went on down to Kansas or South Carolina or someplace to get a good look. It's not a good idea to have looked at it. Some people seem to indulge themselves. On April 24th, 2005, I was in San Francisco with my son, his girlfriend, my wife, and we weren't really aware of the fact that there was a total eclipse of the moon occurring that evening. And so we were wandering around North Beach, and all of a sudden, something started happening to the moon, and there was a distinguished wino lying on the sidewalk right nearby, and he said, "The moon's totaled out," and this is the kind of thing you should never say around a songwriter because something could happen. So this is what came out of that. Blues totaled out over North Beach tonight. Everything's different, nothing's changed. The daughter still seeks a warm porch light. Everything's different, nothing's changed. They never found the black box. Coast Guard abandoned the search. Called it terra incognita, compadre. You can call it Mother Church. How do we know that we know what we know? Everything's different, nothing's changed. Who gets to say if it's wind, place, or show? Everything's different, and nothing's changed. The fog's intense on the cliffs. The road is just guesstimation. Is this the cove where we kissed? Where's that refueling station? Starving for love in the magical kitchen. Everything's different, nothing's changed. Beggars are riding and horses are wishing. Everything's different, nothing's changed. Nothing's too good to be true. Nothing's too true not to try. After all, it's up to you. Certain restrictions apply. The moon's totaled out over North Beach tonight. Everything's different, nothing's changed. The daughter still seeks a warm porch light. Everything's different, nothing's changed. They never found the black box. The Coast Guard abandoned the search. Called it terra incognita, compadre. You can call it Mother Church. Oh, sure, Dream a Little Dream of Me. Yeah, that's a great song. We're having a discussion here about Dream a Little Dream of Me, which is an incredible piece of writing. I should get the music for it. I was at a guitar workshop up in Puget Sound about 4 or 5 years ago, and there was a couple guys there that had it worked up, and that is a gorgeous song. And maybe just say also, if we're going to talk about '60s culture, the public television now is using a Mamas and Papas, compilation to raise money in some places, and it is pretty impressive. They had a lot going for them. When you think about all the great acts, the Beatles and the Stones and so forth, they had a unique sound, and it was very powerful. And John Phillips was a terrific writer. So I think sometimes they're a little, people think they're too pretty and are maybe underrated, but it's impressive to hear them again. All right, now that I've gotten that off my chest, I'm going to introduce you to another song of mine, which came out of a kind of a strange, not as maybe it's as strange as a lunar eclipse maybe. I've been reading the complete works of a great detective novelist named Charles Willeford. And if he's not known to you, if you follow this at all, he was Elmore Leonard's favorite writer, which is a pretty high recommendation. But his books were very strange because they seemed to be pretty much on track as you would expect, and then it would go into this very strange territory all of a sudden, and very funny. At the same time that I was reading these books, I went to a seminar, a whole evening, with Don Miguel Ruiz, who is a Toltec spiritual leader. So I don't understand the interaction of these influences, but as a result of that, I wound up writing this kind of detective story. A detective novel is about 80,000 words, but if you're as lazy as me, you can probably get away with 7 verses and a chorus. It's called Lies and Fears, Part 2. Sailor came in, ordered a chili dog. I was staring out the window at the San Francisco fog. They called me an angel of mercy, well, she was angel food cake. Taking a slice was my singular mistake. Coonskin cap dropped by my booth with pages carefully torn from the book of Ruth. He was searching for expiation from a surfing incident. For my usual fee, I maybe could help the gent. Lies and fears, lies and fears. I could smell Chanel as she walked through the door. Had that dry mouth feeling, the kind I've had before. With her ex-husband on the SWAT team, and the name of the Mother of God, and a hard luck story, my shaky Scheherazade. She said, "You've got to help me, Murray." That's not my name. My Sister cooks meth, but you know I'm not to blame. She was always so resentful of the thing between Daddy and me. And now the probate's slow, I'm in impecunity. Lies and fears. Lies and fears. Well, I called her doll face, the way they do in the book. Took a post-dated check and said, sure, I'll have a look. Drove down to Livermore where her sister worked in particle physics. You know, I was getting jerked. Amanda said, Mary, she's crazy as a bug. But you know she's kin. Sighed and gave a little shrug. I was scrambling for traction like a lizard in a washing machine. Getting nowhere fast, the clothes wasn't coming clean. Lies and fears. Lies and fears. Well, I mailed back the check, headed down to Watsonville. Had a breakfast burrito and plenty of time to kill. Stood by the slough, thought of you, and here the story ends. It's a nasty business, stay out of it, my friends. Lies and fears. Lies and fears.
You know,
So-
time goes by quickly when you're having fun, doesn't it?
How are we doing for
Can you
time?
do one more?
Oh, sure. I'd be
How
glad
about, you know,
to.
I have a favorite of yours that you wrote, I believe.
The
uh,
Old Friends in California
in
one?
California one.
All righty.
Yeah.
Well, that's my hit, I guess.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a medley of my hit. Actually, thank you for asking. This song actually won me a major songwriting award. It's a grand prize for lyrics for the Nashville Songwriters Association in 2013, and opened a few doors. But I wrote this actually as a thank you gesture to some old friends, and trying to find a way to thank them for their many kindnesses. And I really had no idea of any kind of commercial potential or anything beyond this personal gesture, and you just never know. You write from the heart and things happen. So if you're out there, this has a 5-word title, and that is the refrain. It's easy to sing. So I want to imagine you all singing along out there. Okay? Now, I have to trust you. No way to verify. As, Reagan said to Gorbachev, trust but verify, but I can't even verify. Twisting down Route 17, Manzanita, Foothill Pine, the Chevy seems to know the way. Gearing down, just hear her whine. Rolled into the pothole street, just a couple been filled in. Glide into the parking spot, hardly can contain a grin. Don't forget the corn tortillas, heirlooms ripened on the vine. Moonlit Lake, Sensimilla, old friends, and California wine. Old friends and California wine. Lazy paddle into rushes, turtles basking on a log. Ignorant, nervous with our nearness, about to flap up in the fog. There's a quiet bed to burrow, doggies dreaming in the sun. Lily's wild down by the willow, chop an onion, there she's done. Don't forget the corn tortillas, heirlooms ripened on the vine. Moonlit Lake, Sensimilla, old friends, and California wine. Old friends and California wine. Talk about the old days, talk about tomorrow, talk about the kids, the money they borrow. Talk about the RV, the work that it still needs. Talk about the aquifer, choking up with weeds. Talk about the world outside, so little we can do. How we still try to, still hope to see things through. Don't forget the corn tortillas, heirlooms ripened on the vine. Moonlit Lake, Sensimilla, old friends, and California wine. Old friends and California wine. Old friends and California wine. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. This is Jeep Rosenberg. JeepRosenberg.com. You can check it out. Lots of songs on there.
Am I going to have a camera? That's okay. You can close. Good night, everybody. Merry Christmas.